Hey Internet, how's it going? I'm InnerTubes 9000, and welcome back. Today I thought we'd talk about one of my favorite franchises yet again, Diablo. Only this time we're going to be talking about Diablo 4. There's a lot of speculation that that's going to be the next thing that Blizzard unveils next. Personally, I don't think so. I'll send a link to what I think's coming in a previous video I did recently. Rather than speculate when Diablo 4 is going to come out, I'm going to talk about some of the things I'd like to see come in the franchise. I have no idea if anyone from the community is going to see it, or the developers, or either one of those. That'd be pretty cool. So anyway, here's my take on what I'd like to see. One of the biggest standouts for the Diablo franchise for me has always been the art. And Diablo 3 was awesome, don't get me wrong, it was beautiful. But it took away from what I had associated with the Diablo franchise, and that was the gritty atmosphere. Diablo 1 was pretty dark and dank. You didn't really know where you're going. You could turn a corner and that could be your last corner. It was kind of similar with Diablo 2, only more so with interior cells and exterior. I'm kind of at a loss as to why they didn't carry that whole thing on for the third installment of the game. It would have probably saved them a little bit on their development time, but you know, I get it. What they have in the game right now, it's beautiful, and they want to brighten it up and show off all the work they've done. The problem, though, is it was kind of catered more toward the World of Warcraft people, who are more used to seeing things like bright and vibrant and all these details and such going on. And that's cool, but it's just not Diablo. You should have like this sense of like foreboding as you're kind of probing through the dark trying to find out what's going on when you're in an interior cell. Especially when you're in a bone crypt, you have no idea where you're going, you've got demons all over the place. I think it would have been kind of neat if they had initially done it so you could only kind of hear like the murmurs of the demons, kind of like they did in Diablo 2. You could kind of hear a murmur in the dark. You weren't really sure where they were, and they didn't get loud until you got right up on them. And that always added an element of suspense that I thought was really cool. And that's something I felt was missing in Diablo 3, and I kind of hope they carry that back into the franchise. It really gave to the whole experience, and it really improved the atmosphere a lot, for me anyway. I think a lot of people who are into the Diablo 2 franchise might agree with that. You know, if you don't, let me know. So yeah, I'd just like to see the game go back to the gritty atmosphere it had. That sense of not knowing if you're going to get your head stomped in by the giant demon around the next corner. That was always a lot of fun, always a little bit scary. It was great. Another thing I'd like to see change is less focus on item sets. In Diablo 2, item sets did give you a little bit of an edge if you wanted to play a particular niche. But it didn't necessarily pigeonhole you through the game like it currently does in D3. You were able to do whatever you wanted and basically how you wanted. And it was a lot of fun. It also didn't take away from all the other skills and abilities that were currently in the game like it does right now. There's quite a bit of skills, as far as I'm concerned, that just really don't go getting used much at all. Really, the only time you use them is if you're going through the story the first time and just kind of tinkering around with what's cool. A lot of them, unfortunately, just really aren't very viable. And, you know, that's unfortunate. Again, I think the reason they did the whole item sets is because of the World of Warcraft people they were trying to bring into the franchise, which I think was kind of a misstep. That's my opinion. I think they should have kept the two universes separate. From a development standpoint, it would make sense to kind of have them be similar. It'd be easier to develop for one game and take the staff from there and go over to another game. But honestly, from a stylistic point and from the overall vibe of the game, I don't think that's a really good idea. I think it makes more sense to have a dedicated team per franchise rather than having them cross-pollinate. But, you know, that's just my thought on it. And having those item sets in D2 didn't exactly give you a giant edge, kind of like it does in Diablo 3 currently. Basically, you can't do endgame stuff without having a set, and not all sets are all that great anyway. There's like specific ones that'll really get you very far, especially when you start getting into the higher torments and the greater rift systems. One thing I'd really like for the franchise to keep is the rift systems. I think they're great. It's an awesome way of adding replayability and challenging yourself. Some people might find them a little too repetitive, so I'm sure something can be done to kind of mix it up a little bit. That could be a great area for the development team to kind of try their hand at something a little more creative, and I think that would be pretty awesome. Another thing I really liked a lot in Diablo 3 was the combat system. Now, I know a lot of people won't agree with me on it, but I like the fast-paced action and the explosive elements and moments where you just see things flying all over the screen. That's pretty fun. Some people don't exactly like that. Some people like more of a methodical approach, like my good friend Sir Dubra, man. He prefers Diablo 2 over Diablo 3. He's someone who likes to kind of tinker around and really get into the nitty-gritty of things and explore every little nook and cranny of wherever it is that he's in. And that's pretty cool, and I kind of hope they bring an element of that back into the game. But for me, it felt a little too slow, particularly if you're doing a replay. Now, if you could combine that element from D2 and kind of mix it with the combat of D3, I think that would be great. Like if you had like a more slow methodical pace through the actual story mode, and then you kind of switch over to the fast-paced explosiveness in the greater rift systems later on, that would be awesome. I think they'd appeal to a lot of people going that route, kind of catering to both sides, and I think it could be done in a way where it won't turn the game into complete and utter trash. Or dumpster fire, whichever you prefer. A couple other things I'd like to see make it over into D4 is to bring the transmogrification system over. That was brought over from World of Warcraft. That was one of the few things they brought over I thought was pretty cool, because you could add a level of visual customization to your character. Made it a little more unique than what was initially in the game. I thought it was a lot of fun just kind of mixing and matching and choosing different colors and model designs and coming up with my own armor scheme. I had a lot of fun with it. The cosmetics were a lot of fun too, particularly the wings, and some of the non-combat pets are pretty great. There's one that's supposed to be coming out pretty soon in season 13. It's basically a murderous, demonic little teddy bear. That looks like it's going to be awesome. Well, that about wraps up my thoughts on Diablo 4 and what I'd like to see from it. Do you agree with what I said? Maybe you have other ideas I didn't cover, or maybe you completely disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. Also, it'd be great if you'd hit that like button. It helps me out and it lets me know if I should make more stuff like this. And if you're new, subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Help my little ass grow a little bit. Until next time, guys. See ya.